On the 12th of May, the government handed down the 2015 federal budget. Now at this stage, what was announced in the budget is just that. They're only announcements, and we still need to wait for legislation to come through before any of these announcements do become law and have real effect for you. But still, we can look at what some of these announcements were and work out what are the potential implications. If you're a small business taxpayer, there are a lot of significant and positive announcements in this year's federal budget. From the 1st of July 2015, if you're a small business taxpayer, which means you have an aggregated annual turnover of less than $2 million, your company tax rate will reduce from 30% down to 28.5%. If you're not operating through a company, but perhaps through a partnership, then the government is offering a form of a rebate from your tax liability for activities undertaken through a small business enterprise, still with that less than $2 million of turnover. Also, if you purchase assets within that small business between budget night, so after 7:30 p.m. on the 12th of May 2015 through to 30 June 2017, and those assets are worth less than $20,000, you can claim an immediate tax deduction for the cost of purchasing those assets. The government announced that during this government there will be no new taxes on superannuation, and certainly they have lived up to that promise in this year's federal budget. In fact, really the only announcement that came through in relation to superannuation is to increase the ability for people to access their superannuation tax-free if they're diagnosed with a terminal illness. Under existing rules, if you're diagnosed with a terminal illness that says you're going to pass away within 12 months and you get 2 doctors to certify that, you can access your super tax-free. From the 1st of July 2015, that 12-month period will actually be increased to 24 months. Allowing more people to access that superannuation earlier when they really need it. For families, the major announcement in this year's federal budget was actually announced before the budget, and that's the introduction from the 1st of July 2017 of a new childcare subsidy. That childcare subsidy will replace the existing childcare benefit and the childcare rebate. Now, most families will be better off under this new childcare subsidy. It will be means tested and it will be activity tested. So there will be the requirement for parents to perhaps be studying or seeking work or actually undertaking employment activities. But again, we need to wait for the final legislation to get through Parliament before we know what all the final rules will be. And for pensioners, the major change that was announced again was released by the government pre-budget. And that's in relation to changes to the asset test threshold and the taper rate that determine when your age pension will cut out. For single homeowners, there'll be an increase in the threshold from the 1st of January 2017 from the current $202,000 to $250,000 before it starts to cut out. And for a couple homeowner, the increase level will be $375,000. From a taper rate perspective, what the government is doing is changing the rules back to what they used to be before 2007, which essentially means that your age pension will reduce by $3 a fortnight for every $1,000 of assets that you have above that lower threshold. Now, we don't know right now what that level will be where it cuts out completely, because it's actually based on the level of age pension payable in January 2017. But right now, for a couple homeowner, it looks like it'll be roughly $830,000, which is a significant reduction from just over $1.1 million today. Now, as I said at the beginning, these are just announcements at the moment and nothing is law as yet. It still needs to go through the parliamentary process. But to ensure you stay up to date with what these changes are and what is coming through or is not coming through, it's important that you seek advice that is personal to your needs. It's highly recommended that you speak with a financial planner.